The champagne bottle exploded with a triumphant pop in the master bedroom of the Okonkwo mansion. To freedom. Chidi raised his glass, his black morning suit jacket thrown carelessly on the bed where his wife had slept just 3 days ago. Ngozi giggled, still wearing her funeral dress, the one she'd worn to Ada's wake that very morning. To us, baby. Finally, no more hiding. They clinked glasses as rain drummed against the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lagos. Downstairs, mourners still lingered, eating jollof rice and small chops, dabbing their eyes with handkerchiefs. Chidi pulled Ngozi close, his hands roaming the expensive lace of her Oso Ebi. Everything is ours now. The company, the houses, the accounts in Dubai. The bedroom door burst open. Dr. Emeka Nwankwo stood in the doorway, his white coat splattered with rain. Behind him, Auntie Ifeanyi's face was a mask of fury. What is the meaning of, Chidi started, quickly stepping away from Ngozi. The boss is alive. Dr. Nwankwo's voice boomed through the room. Mrs. Adiz Okonkwo is conscious. She's been conscious this whole time. The champagne glass slipped from Chidi's hand, shattering on the marble floor. That's impossible, he whispered, his face draining of color. You said brain dead. You said there was no hope. I said I needed more tests. Dr. Nwankwo stepped forward, his eyes blazing. But someone, he glared at Chidi, refused and insisted on pulling the plug. Lucky for you, Auntie Ifeanyi had the authority to stop you. Ngozi grabbed Chidi's arm, her perfectly manicured nails digging into his skin. What does this mean? Auntie Ifeanyi pushed past the doctor, her geli headdress towering like a crown of judgment. It means Ada heard everything. Every single thing. While you two were celebrating her death, planning how to spend her money, my niece was lying in that hospital bed, trapped in her own body, listening to your betrayal. No. Chidi stumbled backward. Oh yes, Dr. Nwankwo said coldly. Locked-in syndrome. She couldn't move or speak, but her mind was fully aware. And now she's recovering. She wants to see you, Chidi. Both of you. The sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. Slow. Deliberate. The click of expensive heels on marble. Everyone turned to face the door. A figure appeared in the doorway, leaning on a walker but standing tall, draped in white like an avenging angel. Adiz Okonkwo had returned from the dead. And she was smiling. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I dropped another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever? 3 days earlier. The Eco Hotel Convention Center blazed with camera flashes as Lagos's elite gathered for the biggest fashion event of the year. Adiz Ada Okonkwo stood backstage, adjusting the gold Ankara print blazer that had become her signature look. At 38, she'd built Ada Couture, from a single shop in Yoba to an empire with stores in 5 African countries. 5 minutes, ma, her stage manager called. Ada took a deep breath, checking her reflection one last time. Her makeup was flawless, dark skin glowing, burgundy lipstick perfect, her natural hair styled in elegant braids woven with gold thread. She looked every inch the boss she was. Her phone buzzed. A message from Chidi. Good luck tonight, my love. The investors are here. Don't disappoint. Something about the message felt cold, but Ada pushed the thought away. Chidi had been distant lately, but running a company together meant stress. They'd been married for 12 years. They'd weather this rough patch like they'd weathered everything else. Mrs. Okonkwo. Ngozi rushed up, clipboard in hand, her assistant smile bright and efficient. The young woman had been invaluable these past 2 years, always available, always helpful, always exactly where Ada needed her. The models are ready, Ngozi said. And I confirmed your husband's seat in the front row. He's with a guest. Ada caught something in Ngozi's tone but ignored it. Thank you. You've been wonderful as always. Ngozi's smile widened. Anything for you, ma. The lights dimmed. The Afrobeat remix of a traditional Igbo song thundered through the speakers. This was Ada's moment, the launch of her new line, Rebirth, meant to revolutionize African fashion on the global stage. Ada walked onto the stage to thunderous applause. The spotlight felt warm, empowering. She raised her hand to wave. And that's when the pain struck. It felt like lightning splitting her skull from the inside. Ada's vision blurred, the crowd's faces melting into abstract shapes. She tried to speak, but her tongue felt thick, useless. Ladies and gentlemen, her words slurred. The room tilted. Ada's legs buckled. She heard screaming. Was it hers? The stage rushed up to meet her face. Her last conscious thought before the darkness swallowed her was of the front row, where Chidi sat next to a woman in a red dress. The woman wasn't crying. She was smiling. The steady beep of hospital monitors pulled at the edges of consciousness, but Ada couldn't open her eyes. She could hear everything, the whisper of nurses' shoes on linoleum, the hiss of oxygen, muffled voices in the corridor, but her body wouldn't respond. Move, she commanded her fingers. Nothing. Open your eyes. Nothing. Panic flooded through her, but even her racing heart felt distant, disconnected. Severe cerebral aneurysm rupture, a male voice was saying. Dr. Nwankwo, she recognized him from charity galas. She's in a coma. The brain damage is extensive. I'm sorry, Mr. Okonkwo. How long? That was Chidi's voice, but it sounded strange. Flat. Almost. Hopeful. Difficult to say. Could be days, weeks. Some patients never wake up. We'll need to run more tests, but given the location of the bleed. What about quality of life? Chidi interrupted. If she wakes up? Ada felt a chill that had nothing to do with her paralyzed body. Mr. Okonkwo, it's too early. But if she's going to be a vegetable, what's the point? My wife wouldn't want to live like that. She's always been so vibrant. Chidi, what are you saying? We should discuss this with family first, Dr. Nwankwo said carefully. Her aunt, Ifeananya. I'm her husband. I make the decisions. Chidi's voice turned sharp, the tone he used with incompetent employees. How long before we can? Let her go peacefully. Ada wanted to scream. She was right here. She could hear him planning her death while she lay trapped in her own body. A softer voice joined them. Ngozi. Baby, not here. People will hear. Baby. You're right. Chidi's voice moved closer to Ada's bed. She felt a hand on her forehead, his hand, the one that used to stroke her hair with love. Now it felt like a predator checking if its prey was truly dead. Sleep well, Ada, he whispered. You've worked so hard. It's time to rest. His lips brushed her unresponsive cheek, and Ada heard what he said next to Ngozi as they walked away. Give it 2 days. Then we'll talk about pulling the plug. The company's board meeting is on Friday. I need to be the grieving widower making brave decisions by then. Ngozi giggled. You're terrible. I'm practical. Besides, you'll look beautiful in black. Their footsteps faded, leaving Ada alone with the machines keeping her alive and the horrifying truth. Her husband wanted her dead, and her assistant, her trusted Ngozi, was his accomplice. Ada couldn't cry, couldn't scream, couldn't move. But she could listen. And she could remember. 48 hours later, Ada heard the words that should have killed her. Time of death, 11:47 p.m. But she wasn't dead. She could still hear, still feel. The locked-in syndrome held her prisoner as the hospital room erupted in controlled chaos. Nurses disconnecting monitors, Dr. Nwankwo's frustrated voice arguing with someone in the corridor, and then silence. Ada felt a sheet pulled over her face. No. I'm alive. I'm here. But her body remained a tomb. Hours passed. She was moved, jostled, placed somewhere cold. The morgue. Then more movement. She recognized the sound of the family car, the one with the slight rattle in the back seat. Finally. Voices. The sitting room of her mansion. The funeral is Thursday, Chidi was saying, his voice carrying none of the grief his words suggested. Eco Hotel, 500 guests. She would have wanted it grand. Yes, something grand, Ngozi agreed. Ada could hear the clink of glasses. Were they drinking? To the future Mrs. Okonkwo, Chidi said. They were toasting. Over her dead body, except she wasn't dead. How long before we can access the accounts? Ngozi asked. The lawyers said 2 weeks after the death certificate. But I'm already CFO, so I can move some money quietly. We need to transfer funds before Auntie Ifeanyi starts asking questions. That old woman never liked me, Ngozi complained. She never liked anyone. Don't worry, once we have the money offshore, there's nothing she can do. Ada's will leaves everything to me. I made sure of that 2 years ago when I suggested she update it. 2 years ago. The same time Ngozi became her assistant. Ada's mind raced, trapped thoughts spinning. How long had they been planning this? What about the company? Ngozi asked. We'll sell it. Chinese investors have been circling for months. Ada refused, but I'm more flexible. We're looking at $50 million, split between us and the buyers. You and I take 20 million, disappear to Dubai. And Ada's family? Chidi laughed, a sound Ada had once found charming. Now it made her want to vomit, if she could. They get nothing. Let them rot. Footsteps approached wherever Ada was lying. The guest room, she guessed from the acoustics. She felt Chidi's breath on her face as the sheet was pulled back. I almost feel bad, he said softly. You were beautiful once, Ada. But you became boring. All work, no play. Ngozi here. His voice moved away. She knows how to have fun. And she's smart enough not to question me. Unlike her, Ngozi said with venom. Always acting superior. Ngozi, do this. Ngozi, file that. Well, who's the boss now? They laughed together, and Ada felt something inside her crack. Not her heart, that was already broken. This was something deeper. A resolve. A promise. If I survive this, you will both pay. The wake was a lavish display of hypocrisy. Ada lay in her custom-made casket, white with gold trim, filled with white roses, while hundreds of mourners filed past. She could hear everything. The crying, the prayers, the gossip. She was so young. Built that empire from nothing. Poor Chidi. He looks devastated. If only they knew Chidi was upstairs in her bedroom with Ngozi, celebrating between greeting mourners. But one voice cut through the noise. Sharp, suspicious, powerful. Something is not right. Auntie Ifeanyi, Ada's father's sister, the family matriarch who'd helped raise her after her parents died. The woman who'd taught Ada that true power came from wisdom, not just wealth. What do you mean, Auntie? Another voice asked. Ada's cousin, Obiageli. This death is too convenient. Ada was healthy. No history of aneurysms in our family. And that husband of hers. Auntie Ifeanyi's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. I saw him with that girl. The assistant. At the hospital, they were too comfortable. Too familiar. You think? I think we need answers. Call Dr. Nwankwo. Tell him I want every test redone. I want another doctor to examine her body. But Auntie, she's already. Do it. The command echoed through the room. Ada is my blood. If someone harmed her, they will answer to our ancestors and to me. Hope flared in Ada's chest. Auntie Ifeanyi wouldn't let this go. She just needed to survive long enough. Footsteps approached her casket. Chidi's cologne, Savage, the one she'd bought him for their anniversary. Auntie, please, he said smoothly. I know this is hard, but Ada is at peace. Let her rest. Peace. Auntie Ifeanyi's voice could have cut diamond. You speak of peace while wearing your grief like a costume, boy. I changed Ada's diapers. I know when something is wrong. That girl, your assistant. Where is she? Ngozi is helping coordinate. Coordinate what? She's not family. Yet I see her everywhere, acting like the grieving widow. Explain that. The tension crackled. Ada wished she could see Chidi's face. She was Ada's employee. She's being respectful, Chidi said tightly. Auntie Ifeanyanya's hand touched Ada's forehead. Warm, gentle, loving. My child, she whispered in Igbo. If you can hear me, fight. I will find the truth. And then she was gone, her walking stick tapping away, leaving orders and demands in her wake. Ada focused every ounce of will she had on a single finger. Move. Just move. Nothing. But Auntie Ifeanyanya was fighting for her. She just had to hold on. Dr. Emeka Nwankwo had been a physician for 23 years. He'd seen death in all its forms. But something about Adi's Okonkwo's case had haunted him since that first night. The pushy husband demanding life support be ended. The lack of family consultation. The assistant who seemed too eager for the death certificate. When Auntie Ifeanyanya stormed into his office at 6 a.m., he was almost relieved. You will examine her again, she declared, not asked. Now. Mrs. Okonkwo, your niece is deceased. Is she? Those ancient eyes pinned him like a butterfly to a board. You are a good doctor, Emeka. I know your mother. I knew you when you were running around Surulere in torn shorts. You don't make mistakes. So why are you so sure? Dr. Nwankwo hesitated. The truth was, he wasn't sure. The initial scans showed catastrophic damage, but something had nagged at him. Ada's EEG had shown unusual patterns, not brain death, but something else. The husband refused additional testing, he admitted. The husband does not have final authority. I do. Auntie Ifeanyanya slammed a document on his desk. Ada's medical power of attorney. Updated 3 years ago after she saw how her friend's husband pulled the plug too quickly. She gave it to me, not him. Dr. Nwankwo picked up the document. It was legitimate, notarized, unambiguous. If she's in the morgue, then get her out. Auntie Ifeanyanya leaned forward. I will pay any cost. Run every test. And do it before that snake of a husband buries the evidence. 2 hours later, Dr. Nwankwo stood in his private examination room, studying the new MRI scans with growing shock. Impossible, he breathed. His colleague, Dr. Amina Bakare, a neurologist from the University of Lagos Teaching Hospital, pointed at the screen. Not impossible. Rare, but documented. Locked-in syndrome. The brainstem damage isolated her motor functions. But see here? The cerebral cortex is intact. She's conscious. Emeka. She's been conscious this entire time. Oh my God, Dr. Nwankwo whispered. She heard everything. More than heard. She's aware. Trapped but alive. We can test for eye movement, see if she can communicate. They rushed to Ada's body. No, not body. Ada. Still alive. Dr. Bakare performed the examination with gentle efficiency. Mrs. Okonkwo, if you can hear me, try to blink. Once for yes, twice for no. Silence. Then. One deliberate blink. Again. Can you feel this? Dr. Bakare touched Ada's hand. One blink. Yes. Tears streamed down Ada's paralyzed face. Call the aunt, Dr. Nwankwo said, his voice shaking. And prepare for the resurrection of Adi's Okonkwo. This changes everything. The news exploded through Lagos like lightning. Ada Couture CEO alive. Locked in syndrome miracle. Within hours, the story dominated every news station. Social media went wild. Hashtag AdaLives trended worldwide. The fashion community erupted in celebration and shock. But in the Okonkwo mansion, champagne turned to ashes. You said she was dead. Ngozi screamed at Chidi in the master bedroom. their celebration interrupted by Dr. Nwankwo's phone call. She was dead. The monitors, the doctors. Chidi's hands shook as he scrolled through his phone. News articles. Photos of Ada being transferred to a private suite. Video of Auntie Ifeanyi declaring, "My niece has risen." What do we do? Ngozi's perfectly made-up face was melting with panic. If she was conscious, if she heard us. She couldn't have. The doctor said coma. Brain dead. But Chidi's voice lacked conviction. His phone rang. Dr. Nwankwo. Mr. Okonkwo, your wife is awake and improving. She's requesting to see you. Yes, of course. I'll be right there. There's something else. Dr. Nwankwo's voice turned cold. Mrs. Okonkwo had locked-in syndrome. She was fully conscious from the moment she collapsed. She heard and saw everything around her for the past 3 days. The phone slipped from Chidi's hand. Ngozi grabbed his arm. We need to run. Now. Take what we can and disappear. It's too late, Chidi whispered, his face grey. The accounts. The transfers. Everything has my signature. If she talks, then we make sure she doesn't. Ngozi's eyes hardened. We go there, play the loving husband and loyal employee. We apologize, say we were in shock, didn't know what we were saying. You think she'll believe that? She's weak. Paralyzed. What can she do? But as they rushed to get dressed, neither noticed the figure standing in the doorway, Auntie Ifeanyi's driver, recording everything on his phone. The trap was already closing. Ada sat propped in her hospital bed, her body still weak but responding more each day. The doctors said her recovery was miraculous, the brain's plasticity working overtime to rebuild damaged pathways. She could move her fingers now, turn her head, and most importantly, she could speak. Not well. Her words came slowly, slurred. But they came. Welcome. Back. Boss lady, her creative director, Zainab, said through tears, squeezing Ada's hand. We thought we lost you. The room filled with Ada's true family, her staff from the company, her cousins, childhood friends. People who'd loved her before the money, before the fame. Auntie Ifeanyi sat beside the bed like a general planning war. Tell me everything you heard, NWAM. Everything. Ada's voice was weak but steady. Chidi. Ngozi. Planned it. 2 years. The money. The company. They want to sell. Obiageli gasped. That bastard. We need evidence, Auntie Ifeanyi said calmly. What they said to you won't hold up in court. We need proof. The accounts, Ada managed. Check. Transfers. He's been stealing. Zainab pulled out her laptop. I can access the company finances. You gave me secondary authorization, remember? As Zainab worked, Ada continued speaking, each word an effort but each word a weapon. Security cameras. In-house. I installed them. Last year. Bedroom 2. Chidi doesn't. No. Auntie Ifeanyi's smile was predatory. You sneaky child. Where? My lawyer has access. Mr. Okafor. Tell him, code is, our wedding date. Backwards. Within an hour, they had it all. Video footage of Chidi and Ngozi in bed. Audio of them planning Ada's death. Bank records showing systematic embezzlement. Over $2 million siphoned off in the past 18 months. This is enough to bury them, Mr. Okafor said, reviewing the documents. Criminal charges. Civil suits. They'll both go to prison. No. Ada's voice was stronger now, fueled by rage. Not yet. I want them to confess. Public. I want everyone to see. Ada, you need to rest, Dr. Nwankwo began. No. I need revenge. Auntie Ifeanyi squeezed her hand. What do you have in mind? Ada's smile was terrifying. A party. When Chidi and Ngozi finally arrived at the hospital, They'd perfected their masks. Chidi carried roses, Ada's favorites, yellow and white. His face was a portrait of relieved joy. "Thank God," he said as he entered the private suite. "Ada, my love, I thought I'd lost you. Save it." Ada's voice was clearer now, after 2 days of therapy. "I heard everything." Chidi froze. Ngozi, standing behind him, went pale. "Ada, I don't know what you think. I think you tried to kill me. I think you've been stealing from me. I think you've been sleeping with my employee in my bed." Ada's eyes were chips of ice. But thinking and proving are different things. Hope flickered in Chidi's eyes. "Exactly. Whatever you thought you heard, you were confused, in a coma. Locked-in syndrome," Ada corrected. "I was aware of everything. Every word. Every touch. Every betrayal." Ngozi stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "Ma, I'm so sorry. He forced me. He said if I didn't do what he wanted, he'd fire me, and I needed the job." "Shut up, you stupid girl," Chidi snapped, his mask finally cracking. Ada laughed. A harsh, broken sound. "There it is. The real Chidi. Tell me, did you ever love me? Or was it always about the money? You want the truth?" Chidi's face twisted with contempt. "You were a means to an end. Smart, talented, profitable, but boring as hell. At least Ngozi knows how to have fun." "Fun that costs you everything," Ada said softly. "Did you really think I wouldn't have insurance? Security cameras. Chidi. In every room. Including our bedroom." The color drained from both their faces. "Ada, wait." Chidi stumbled forward, his hands outstretched. "We can fix this. I'll give back the money, we'll go to counseling." "Get out." Ada's voice was a whip crack. "Both of you. My lawyer will be in touch. Oh, and one more thing. You're both invited to my welcome home party next week. I insist you come. I have a special announcement to make." "Ada, please. Get out." Security guards appeared, not hospital security, but Auntie Ifeanyi's personal men, large Igbo warriors who'd been protecting the family for generations. As Chidi and Ngozi were escorted out, Ada lay back against her pillows, exhausted but exhilarated. "Phase 2, she whispered to Auntie Ifeanyi. "Let's give Lagos a show they'll never forget." The invitation read, Ada Couture's Phoenix Rising Celebration, a welcome home party for Lagos's miracle survivor. It promised to be the event of the year. Every major player in Nigerian society received one. Government officials, business tycoons, celebrities, fashion icons. The media was invited. International press too. And Chidi and Ngozi each received special, personal invitations. Delivered by courier. With a note, "Come or face criminal charges immediately. Your choice." Ada. They came. What choice did they have? The Okonkwo mansion was transformed. White and gold everywhere. Ada's signature colors. A stage set up in the grand ballroom. Cameras positioned for what Ada had told everyone would be a major announcement about the future of Ada Couture. Ada arrived in a wheelchair, still weak but dressed in a stunning white and gold kaftan of her own design. Her natural hair was adorned with gold accessories. She looked like a queen returning from battle. The crowd erupted in applause as she was wheeled onto the stage. "Thank you all," Ada said into the microphone, her speech still slightly slurred but understandable. 3 weeks ago, I died. Or so everyone thought. Tonight, I want to tell you what death taught me about life, loyalty, and betrayal." Chidi, standing near the back with Ngozi, tried to move toward the exit. Auntie Ifeanyi's security blocked them. "You see, when you can't move or speak, you become invisible," Ada continued. "People say things around you they'd never say otherwise. I learned who truly loved me," she gestured to her staff, her aunt, her real friends. "And I learned who was just waiting for me to die." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "My husband, Chidi Okonkwo, where are you?" Ada scanned the room. Spotlights found him. Come up here, darling. Don't be shy. Chidi looked like he might vomit, but he walked forward, forced smile in place. Ada, maybe this isn't the time. Oh, it's exactly the time. Everyone, my husband has something he'd like to say. Don't you, Chidi? About how you tried to pull my life support. About the $2 million you stole? About the affair with my assistant. The crowd gasped. Phones came out, recording. Ada, you're sick. You're confused. Am I? Ada nodded to the tech booth. Roll the footage. On screens around the ballroom, video began playing. Chidi and Ngozi in bed. Chidi on the phone discussing selling the company. The champagne toast over Ada's dead body. To freedom, video Chidi said, his voice booming through the speakers. The ballroom exploded in outrage. Guests stood, shouting. Cameras flashed. Chidi tried to run, but security grabbed him. You can't do this, he screamed. I'm your husband. Not for long, Ada said coldly. Divorce papers were filed this morning, along with criminal charges for attempted murder, fraud, and embezzlement. Ngozi, she turned to where the younger woman was trying to disappear into the crowd. You're fired. And you're being charged as an accessory. Police officers, who'd been waiting in the wings, moved forward with handcuffs. As Chidi was dragged away, he locked eyes with Ada one last time. I should have finished the job, he snarled. But you didn't, Ada said softly. And that was your biggest mistake. 3 months later, Ada stood on her own 2 feet at the grand reopening of Ada Couture's flagship store. Her recovery had been grueling. Physical therapy, speech therapy, countless doctor appointments. But she'd done it. The new collection, appropriately named Resurrection, was her most personal work yet. Each piece told a story of survival, of rising from the ashes, of African women's unbreakable strength. How does it feel? Zainab asked, adjusting a dress on a mannequin. Like I can finally breathe, Ada admitted. She glanced at the newspaper on her desk. The headline read, Former CFO sentenced to 15 years for fraud and attempted murder. Ngozi had received 7 years as an accessory. Auntie Ifeanyi walked in, her walking stick tapping. The crowd outside is massive. Are you ready? I was born ready. Ada hugged her aunt tightly. Thank you. For not giving up on me. You're my blood, NWAM. I would never. As Ada walked toward the door, she paused at her reflection in the mirror. The woman looking back was different from the one who'd collapsed on that stage months ago. Thinner, marked by struggle, but somehow stronger. More real. She'd survived her own death. Faced betrayal from the man she'd loved and trusted. Lost everything and built it back from nothing. Again. The doors opened, and the Lagos crowd roared her name. Ada stepped out into the sunlight, smiling. She was more than a survivor. She was a phoenix. And she had only just begun to fly. The end. Epilogue. 1 year later, Ada Couture expanded to 12 countries. Ada had remarried, not to a businessman, but to Dr. Emeka Nwankwo, the man who'd saved her life by refusing to give up. The company's profits had tripled. Auntie Ifeanyi moved into a guest house on the property, where she held court daily, dispensing wisdom and ensuring no one ever underestimated the power of an African woman again. And in Kirikiri maximum security prison, Chidi Okonkwo sat in his cell, watching a news report about Ada's latest fashion show in Paris, finally understanding the truth. You can try to kill a queen. But if she survives, you'll wish you'd never been born. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I dropped another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever?